Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to today's session for our Blue Couch Yoga. And we are going to do some postures and practice today that are good for anyone just getting up out of bed in the morning or before you get out of bed in the morning. Actually, these are exercises you can do while you're still in bed. Most of us are not wearing restrictive clothing when we sleep, so sometimes it's a good idea just to lie in your bed, stay in your PJs, and we'll just go ahead and get started. If you've watched the other two videos and you have a good idea about how we breathe and why we breathe the way that we do during this practice. So if you're in your bed this morning on your laptop, just go ahead and get comfy. We're going to lie down, and I want you to make sure that your shoulders are comfortable, that your neck is comfortable, and if you want to, you can just close your eyes. And we'll take a couple of nice deep breaths in. All right. So as you're ready, go ahead and stretch your arms and legs as far away from each other as you can. Spread your fingers apart, spread your toes apart, and just take a full deep inhalation. And then exhale. And completely relax your arms and your legs. They're going to bend just a little bit here. And then try to stretch your right side a little bit longer than your left side. So your right arm and your right leg activate. And then your left arm and your left leg. Stretch them as far away from each other as you can. And just do that again as many times as you like, stretching your right arm and your right leg nice and far away, and your left arm and your left leg nice and far away. And you come back to your center, and we're going to bring our hands down to our hip bones. So I want you to be able to feel your pelvic bones right here. And many times our pelvis gets a little misaligned. And so what we're going to do before we put any weight or gravity takes a hold of our body, this morning we're going to go ahead and just kind of go around the pelvic clock. If you think about an analog clock with 12 at the bottom, or 12 at the top, rather 6 at the bottom, and then 3 and 9 o'clock, I'm going to go around the clock. So imagine that your right hand is on the number 3 and your left hand is on the number 9 on the clock, and we're just going to tip the pelvis towards the number 3. Breathe in as you come back to the middle, and then towards the number 9. And you can see that subtle shifting in the hip. You can feel that as well. So we're going to breathe into center and breathe out to side. And you can just do this as many times as you like, trying to control the movement and going with our breath. So creating that yoke or union with our breath. Breathe into center and breathe out to side. Breathe into center and breathe out to side. Now once you realign, come back to your center, and we're going to go 12 o'clock, and towards the feet will be 6 o'clock. So it's very subtle. You're going to see and feel this movement in the lumbar spine, pushing the lumbar spine, the lower back towards the floor, and then tipping the pelvic bowl towards the feet. So there's a little gap right there in the lower back, almost big enough for a little tiny mouse to crawl through. So we're going to breathe in as we tilt the pelvis backwards, and breathe out as we tilt the pelvis forwards. And just go at your own pace. I'm pointing and flexing with my feet. You do not have to do that if you don't want to, okay? And then return to neutral once you're satisfied with the number of times. And we're going to go around the clock. So towards your belly button towards the floor, that's going to be 12. Towards the right hip is 3. Towards the floor is 6. And towards the left hip is 9. And then back to center, neutral. And now we'll go counterclockwise. Belly button towards the floor. Towards the number 9. Towards the number 6, towards the number 3, and back to the middle. Now, I want you to work at your own pace. Let's go ahead and do this another time through on each side. Take your time. Going with your breath. Working on our lumbopelvic stability. Relaxing, and that's just an amalgamation of the lumbar spine and the pelvis. So lumbopelvic is just the lower back and the pelvis. You're creating a healthy relationship between your lumbar spine and your lower back. So very basic, very simple exercises. We're going to do some alternating knee hugs. So take a breath, give your knee a hug, whichever one you start with, and release, and just alternate. So we're breathing, exhaling any stress or tension that you may be feeling in your hips and your hamstrings. Just giving yourself permission. And now we'll do a static stretch. So taking one of your knees into your chest and letting your hands just relax just below the kneecap. Let your shoulders settle in, and then take your deep breaths here. If you notice when you're lying down, you're automatically breathing diaphragmically. So you may just want to focus on the length of the breath instead of where the breath is in your body. Your body switches over automatically into that diaphragmic breathing when you're lying down, because it really is a good way to help rejuvenate and restore the body. Feel free to add any ankle or foot movement. You may hear some popping. You may hear your body trying to realign itself, a tendon slipping over the bone, or any sounds like that. And you can hold this as long as you like. There's no set time. Remember, up to 2 minutes if you've had a trauma or a surgery. 20-30 seconds if you haven't. Now let's go ahead and lengthen this leg out. So if you want your hip and your knee to be in a line here, you do not have to come deeper in for this next stretch to be effective. So we're going to hold on to maybe our foot. And if you can't hold your foot, hold on to your calf or your hamstring, right? Don't feel like you have to go all the way up here. And then straighten out your knee if you want to go deeper. So bend your knee for less, straighten your knee for more. And don't feel like you have to bring the leg all the way to your chest. You can do whatever you want to with your free arm. Now, it's helpful sometimes to direct your gaze towards your toes if you need a focal point. Maybe when you first get up in the morning, I'm not sure if your mind is very active or not active at all. And it can help to have a focal point, somewhere just to gaze. Yum. And you're welcome to hold this as long as you like. So as you're ready, we're going to exchange to the other side. Just going to give your knee a hug. You can hug it in as close as you want to, and just rotate your ankle. Soften your shoulders. Make sure your neck has its freedom. Just enjoying the quiet time this morning. And when you're ready, if you're ready, go ahead and extend that leg up. So here's where you can be. Hamstring with the hands, calf or foot. Straightening out your knee is going to give you a deeper stretch. Bending your knee a little bit is going to decrease the stretch, which you'll soon find out. Always do what's best for you. Most people seem to be a little bit more flexible on one side of their body than the other. That's fairly natural. And we don't want to get too caught up in that. Do what feels like a good idea, right? So if you get to a certain place, you ease into it, get to a certain place, and your body will tell you, you know what, that's enough today. I'm feeling a stretch. I'm not overdoing it. You can use whichever hand or hands that you like. That's not necessarily important. And then as you release, just let that go. Okay, so this time we're going to bend. I'm going to bend your right knee, and I'm going to use my left knee just so I can come towards you. I want you to go ahead and take your right knee in, and you're going to bring it all the way across. Okay, what if it won't go all the way down to the floor? You know what? That's not important. Go as deep as you can. Okay, I'm going to use my free hand to help the knee down. Let's think about, what could I do with this right arm? You could bring it across your body. Maybe you're protecting your shoulder for some reason. Okay, you can open it up behind you and just let your palm face up and rest on the floor. You can look towards me, or you can look at a diagonal angle or straight up. We want to make sure that your left shoulder is continuing to stay relaxed. And we'll take a few more breaths here. I got my yoga mat out this morning just so I think it'll make it easier for you to see my feet. I'm wearing light colored pajamas today, so wanted to be sure that you guys could see my feet all right. Yeah, nice deep breaths. You're always more than welcome to hit the pause button and linger and stretch a little bit longer. Just for the sake of the length of the video, I wanted to just go ahead and give you guys the general basics of what today was about. So now we're going to roll into our mat, realign, and then take your left knee. Now, as you bring your leg over, remember, it does not have to touch the floor. It can if you want to. You can turn your head any direction that feels comfortable. If this is not comfortable for your left shoulder, wrap it across your body or open it out to the side, and just take some nice deep breaths here. All before we get out of our pajamas, before coffee, before external stimulation. And again, if you have some quiet music in the background, or if you wake up to music, it can be really good, calming way to start your morning. Take your time again, but as you finish, we're just going to carefully put our foot to the floor or the bed and realign. And then this time we're going to bring both knees into the chest. So you're going to hug either your shins, or you can have one hand on each leg. And if you want to, you can rock. Right? Don't rock too far, obviously. I don't want anybody falling off their bed. And then we'll draw some circles. If you don't feel comfortable with the circles, stay with the rocking. So we'll do about half a dozen circles clockwise and half a dozen counterclockwise. I'm just going to soften everything. I want you to let all that stress out of your abdomen, and then go, make sure you go both directions. Feels pretty good, yeah? I hope so. Okay, and so now if you can, you're going to keep your knees bent just a little bit and find your feet. So we call this our happy baby. Your elbows can be outside of your knees, they can be on the top side of your knees, or they can actually be on the inside of your knees. It depends on where you're comfortable. And I'm going to use my index finger like a hook around the toes. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can just hold on to your feet, and I'm just going to rock. Just rock. It's very gentle. Deep breath. So good. Okay. Now as you release, you can keep your knees bent, or if you want, you can stretch your legs all the way back out. And then we're going to move our shoulders a little bit. Now, some of us, if you reach back, you're going to whack your headboard, so you may need to slide down just a little bit if you are still, in fact, on your bed. And then we're going to exchange our arms. So the back of one of your hands is touching the floor back here by your head, and the palm of your other hand is touching the floor by your hip. We're just going to exchange. Okay, and you can look up or you can let your head move a little bit from side to side. So just activating our shoulders. Feels pretty good, I think. Okay, and then as you're finishing, both hands are by your side. Now, again, I'm going to go opposite from you so we can roll towards each other. But if you would stretch your left arm towards me and turn your palm up, so palm facing the ceiling. You bend your right leg and bring your right arm up. You're going to try to touch your middle finger to the middle of your palm. Roll. And then you're going to roll back. Oh. So where is my arm going? My arm can go straight out to the side, or it can go more beside my ear. You can bend your elbow if that feels better for you, and then straighten out your arm as we activate the shoulder. Okay, and then rest here. We're going to do our best Elvis impersonation, rolling the shoulder, getting some nice movement in our shoulders this morning. Breathe. So good. And then 4 or 5 rotations go in the other direction. So big circle here. Loosen up the shoulder joint. Yum. All right. And on your recovery, relax, roll back to your center. And stretch out that leg. Okay, so arms by our side. Let's go ahead. This time, your left palm down, your right arm up, and we'll exchange 4 or 5 times here with our breath. Yep, moving our arms forwards and backwards. Okay, and then both hands down. All right, so here we go. Let's see if we remember how this goes. So you're going to go onto your right side a little bit. Your knee is going to bend, and your left arm, you're going to bring it up and over. Maybe try to touch your right palm. You can come back with a straight left arm, or you can bend your elbow and then stretch your arm out as you go across. Okay? I am just so very limited with space I have in my home. And so even if you're doing this in your bed, even if you're on a small bed, you should be able to do these exercises. Okay, then we're going to stay here on our side. You're going to be looking at my back for a moment. And then we're going to do our shoulder circles. So I'm going backwards, breathing in as I come up, breathing out as I come down. Nice breath. And then once you've done 4 or 5 in one direction, go ahead and switch directions. Whatever feels good to you. And then as you finish, we're going to realign and get on our back. Your legs can be bent or straight, okay? All right, so take your arms and catch or hold your right forearm with your left hand and your left forearm with your right hand, almost like you're looking through a box or a picture frame here. And we're going to rock the shoulders from side to side. So I'm going to tap my elbows down. Nice deep breath. Oh my goodness, feels so good. So good. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you're feeling well this morning. We're going to bring our arms back to the middle and then try to keep that picture frame or the box. We're going to breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in. Okay, now I'm going to bring my arms, my elbows into something that looks like a goalpost here and let my arms rest on the floor and look up. I'm going to turn my head from side to side. You can join me. Just get your neck moving around. When you make your way back to center, try to touch the soles of your feet to each other while your hips open in kind of a cobbler's pose or a bound angle in the reclined position. And if you like, you can bring your hands to your belly Just reconnect with your breath. If maybe you've been more focused on the exercises and less focused in on the breath, just take those deep breaths. Take as many deep breaths as you like. Honestly, these exercises can be done before you go to sleep as well. Just anytime you're lying in bed and you need a little stretch before you're winding down or before you're waking up in the morning. And then however you get out of bed, if you bend your knees and sit up, or if you stretch your legs, and we're just going to take a breath all the way up. You're sitting on the edge of your bed. Okay, so imagine that your legs are hanging off your bed and your feet are on the floor. Maybe bring your hands behind your legs and curve your spine. Big reach. Nice breath in. Give yourself a great big hug this morning. That's all I have for you. Thank you for joining me this morning. God bless you. Have a great day.